Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. The deck list for San Diego just dropped for me late Wednesday night? Yeah, Wednesday night, which is the past for you guys. But yeah, I just spent a good chunk of time putting these all up here. Previously, I've been just kind of scrounging off YouTube videos, so what turned into a situation where I didn't have a lot of info for this tournament turned out to be a lot of information because I've got all the decks now and I've got all the videos, so all that's compiled, and this is the same document that has all 5 celebration events. So if anyone's interested in that, cool. Yeah, let's just jump into talking about San Diego and everything that it entailed. Looking at the top 16 leaders, a lot of diversity still. I think this is a good format. I'm gonna just boop that for a second. We have 5 skillless Goku, 3 Janemba, surprisingly. I'm really surprised about that. 3 starter Broly, 2 super Shenrons, 1 Hirudegarn, 1 blue Dende, and 1 yellow Dende. A lot of variety in that. Most of the decks are blue and black. We've got 1 yellow Dende and for the yellow, 3-star Brolys for the green. I'm really surprised that we didn't have any of the yellow Broly. That's been topping. I think that's topped every other event. Let's see, yellow. Yep, this is the first time. This is the only celebration event that the yellow Broly didn't top. So that was really interesting to see. And there's also no red leaders, which isn't like a big thing. Pan and like Vegeta Baby have been kind of like 1 or 2 ofs in the top 16s, but just none of them top this time, which I think is okay. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, very, very cool. And the skillless Goku, even though it was the most common leader, it also has the most variety. I've already talked about how this deck has a lot of varieties, and there are 3 different archetypes that were made for this. Let's just jump into it. So first, the top 4 also. So we've got Marcus, who got first place with Super Shenron, with David Fujimura, sorry, with second place with also Super Shenron. So both Super Shenrons got first and second, which is crazy. We'll talk about them when we see the deck list. And then also we've got Russell with a 3rd place finish with the blue Dende, Agent of Destruction. It's very cool. And then also Timothy Lee with the skillless Goku. So let's just jump into the deck lists. So here is Marcus's, and both him and I'm going to talk about David's pretty much at the same time. So there are pretty much a couple ways to build this deck. One is to have the blue package, which is what David did, and then the other way is to just kind of have mono yellow. I guess there's like 2.5 with the mono yellow. The Height of Mastery chain is something very powerful that can happen, just because you can tap out your opponent and then you can take your second turn and they're still tapped out. So even if your opponent's being really defensive and saying, oh, I won't tap my energy, I'll use that for defense, they can tap you out anyways and then take 2 turns, and that just feels very good for the Super Shenron player and very bad for everyone else involved. So for Marcus's, we've got pretty much like the Goku lineage swap package. It's really good because you're able to put Successor of Hope in. This pretty much just gets free cards into your drop area. You go up to the 3-drop with swap with either Bardock to Goku or Gohan into Son Goku, and there's also the Source of Power in case you need to be aggressive. Both these decks have pretty much have variants of where it can be really aggressive, or if it can afford a second turn or a 3rd or 4th turn to set up, they'll definitely do that. So there's that. Also, David does have the Path to Height package in his side, but Marcus was a little bit more bold and put it in his main. So there's that. 4 Explorer Bulma, like there's half the deck is already built because you have to have 7 Dragon Balls, you have to have 4 Child's Wishes, you have to have 4 Personal Ambitions, you have to have 4 Explorer Bulmas, some Dragon Raiders and stuff like that. So not a whole lot of room for spice after all the packages that Marcus was running. He did main deck 1 Bardock Fully Unleashed. He must have been afraid of like the Broly line and a Scientist Fu, but very, very strong. And then also in the side deck, he's got a little bit more spice as well. Tin Shinhan is a must for the sides for these decks. And then also He added another Path to Greatness. He added a Victory Strike, which came in handy in the finals. No spoilers. Also, he had these Vegetas here, which for kind of anti-meta. Only way you could play these guys was the Child's Wish, but the 3-drop is able to blow up something with 10k or less with Barrier, so like Goku striving to be the best, and Super Saiyan Vegeta exploding with energy is able to destroy all 1-drops, which includes the common counters to this is like Whis, and Borgos, the ones that Garly, Destruction, Whis, and Borgos. So being able to just play this Vegeta for 1 to blow up all those is very handy as well. So very, very strong deck. He won the event, right? So that's very good. And then if we switch to David's, the big difference is that he was a little bit more aggressive in the main. So he also has like these Fearless Assault Criminals. I don't think, Marcus didn't have any. He only had one, Hidden Power E Supreme Kai in his side. But the main deck of David's is more aggressive. He has this. He also has Mira. So Mira can be a super great finisher in this deck because your opponent will probably use all their negates early, and then you can just drop a Mira and they can't, you can just never have enough combo power for that. So really good there. Nothing else super fancy. 2 Crusher Balls inside, that was new, and Mafuba's. He did run the blue package, so he was able to have like Pre-Phrase of Recovery Son Goku. I'm not playing with you right now, Grant. I love you, but not right now. We've got 4 Sensu Bean. We've got let's see what else. And then 2 Mafubas. I saw him. What he did was when he went into the Path to Greatness package. You know what I can do here real quick. Bam! I'm back. Now you can't even see. But you can go into the height of path whatever combo by switching out of the blue stuff, and I think that's what he did there. 6 cards here, so you take out 6 of these, and he probably adds 2 more. The Tien Shinhan if you're playing against blue or something like that. But pretty self-explanatory. Super Shenron is super powerful. I'm probably going to make a video about him in the next week or so about my opinions about it, but really very dominating in this. Even though only 2 popped up in the top 16, I don't know if that's more of not a lot of people are running it. From what I've understood, people don't like running this deck, and they just do it because it's really powerful. Otherwise, they wouldn't really. It's not very interactive for your opponent. It can be kind of boring and kind of really controlling as well. So there's that, but definitely very powerful, and not surprising that it took first place this week. And top Broly didn't win all of them. So next up, we're going to move to the Blue Dende. This is piloted by Russell. Very, very cool deck. I've been seeing a couple of builds like these float around, but I feel like his build's super strong, and let's just jump into it. So if you don't know what this deck does, the idea is that it's a combo deck. Turn 1, you use 1 Star Ball to discard cards into your drop area and also draw, and a little bit of control. But turn 2, you play your Super Dragon Ball. Same kind of thing, you draw 4, discard 2, and so you get you pretty much just load stuff that you need into your drop area, such as your Surprise Attack Majin Buu, any of your agent cards, and even your Arcane Absorption Majin Buu if you end up drawing it. You'd rather have this in the drop area, and then you can use Dangerous Journey Bulma to put it back into your deck for the combo of using Child's Wish to get Surprise Attack Majin Buu, evolving it for 2 on top of Awakening Evil Majin Buu. And then after that, you use his Union Absorb with either Dark Duo Babidi or the Babidi Overseer of Destruction to get out the big old 8-drop. You can also get any of the 7-drops as well. When you do the 5-drop Awaken for him, you can also do the you can put your super combo under him to be able to have a Son Gohan Adolescence for your or not Adolescence. What is it? Adulthood? I don't remember. Adolescent. It is Adolescent. Sorry. To get his triple or dual attack absorption ability. And you can always have your Majin Buu Dawn of Rampage to put on under your 7-drops, or any of them really. And Surprise Attack Majin Buu is also really good because when you play him with Child's Wish, you get any of your Majin Buus. You can add any of them to your hand. So if you're missing a piece, or if you need the 5-drop, or if you need the 4-drop, you can just add it to your hand really easily. So there's that. Don't get the 8-drop. Other than that, just the deck just has a bunch of the Agents of Destruction cards and just ways to protect yourself. 2- Killy Zones. The big thing against this deck is like Cold Bloodlust, Crusher Ball, Preemptive Strike, all those can kind of ruin your day, so just having 2 of those can be really helpful. I've already talked about Dangerous Journey Balma's good for getting your cards back into your deck, and I think that's about it. So the idea is you just play this as soon as you can, the 8-drop, and then you just summon as many of your agents as you can. Also, something with My Achilles Zone, Janemba only gets its effect when you play it from your hand or your drop air, or from your warp. So if you ever use My Achilles Zone, you want to put these Janembas into your warp, so when you play the 8-drop, you get the Janembas out. So that is that. Just a really good, powerful deck. I think it did really well, and I'm not really surprised that it did. The only thing is this is a bit RNG based. It really depends where your 8-drop is, but there's some alternate win conditions or pressure you can build just with either of these 7-drops, because you're able to get this big triple attack out, or this dual attack triple attack, or dual attack triple strike, sorry. And there's that, and then in the side there's a lot more kind of defensive options. You will notice that there are no negates in the main, which I think is a bold choice, but I don't think it's really. I think it's fine. Especially the only deck this hard loses to immediately, I feel like, is Super Shenron, and then after that you can kind of put in your defensive options. But yeah, 2 Borgos, 3 Dimension Magic, 3 Sensu Bean. There's also Bojack, which is another agent in case they need to put something to rest. Another My Achilles Zone against decks that care about it, and then Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan is probably one of the better cards to play against the Super Shenron, and with Borgos too. So on turn 2, what you really want to do is you want to try to play 2 of the Borgos, or any combination of Borgos and Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan, just to be able to stop your opponent from doing stuff and do that. So really strong deck, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably see variants of this for the next couple weeks as well. So next up we've got so we're gonna start going into the skill list archetypes. First up we've got Tim Lee, who got top 4 with this build. He ran a blue variant, but also he has the 7-drop Gogeta in his main. I made shoutouts to myself, but I made this a very similar build to this. When I first saw skill lists, I thought, oh, we've got these Gokus and Vegetas that you already have benefits for running them. So the idea seems really strong, and there you go. One big thing you have to realize about building around this guy is that it's a sparking 10, so you can't really run any other overwhelm stuff. But other than that, really cool deck. Has the most decks right now, I feel like, are about half the deck is built for you, just with how strong these archetypes are, and then you put your spice after that. So and there's some variation of like 4 to 6 Dragon Ball or 4-star balls, and then what color variant you're doing. But the one thing I'd say was interesting, that there was only 1 hidden power East Supreme Kai. I would kind of think there'd be 2 or 3, but it worked out for him. And then 2 Adult cost Vegeta. This card can be really good, especially since Son Goku doesn't have. You don't really want to awaken yourself, but if you're getting stalled out, normally you have a bunch of life with your Son Goku, so this Vegeta can be a game winner as well. And I think that's about it. In the side, there's Tien Shinhan, and also just pretty standard stuff. An Aid. I would imagine this should be maybe in the main, just for you really want to get your Gokus and Vegeta into your hand, and this can help you find them. And also God Strike Beerus. A lot of people just ran like a single copy of God Strike Beerus this weekend, but and I don't know how well it did. I know the card's really good for like countering someone, but I just found it really interesting how everyone's just like, just put one in there just in case. So very strong deck. Also, if you don't already realize, the part of the deck that makes this really powerful is the Son Goku and Android 8 thing. If you can just combo with this Son Goku from your battle area and blow something up with Android 8's effect, can be really powerful and abusable. We'll see if that ruling is still the same in the next couple weeks, but that's how it's ruled now. So next up, we've got another blue-red, and pretty much this is pretty similar. The big difference, this is also David Chow's version of it. He added some more hidden power Ace Kai, and he kind of scaled back the Gogeta part of it. He's running the 5-drop in the main, and he's running 3 and 3. But it's more of just generic control and probably getting Demigra out as the big old win condition. But very similar in a lot of ways like that. He's running the 7-drop in the side, which I think is smart. I could see you being afraid of, you know, not getting to 5 energy against some matchups, so having it in the side makes sense to me. And then pretty much just such a lot of like generic defense options like Kami, Cronoa. Masain the Mysterious Warrior is great in the mirror match, just being able to blow up usually like 3 cards, a 3-drop and 2 1-drops from your opponents with this 1 card. Really good card. And then the Son Goku striving to be the best for presumably Shenron, not for Super Shenron. Son Goku striving to be the best can at least buy you like another turn or two. So there is that. And then the last of the blue-red, and this one's kind of, or not blue-red, blue-black, and this one's a little bit more interesting because it has some green options, which I think was really smart, especially if you're afraid of Broly, because these green cards in your side are just kind of combo cards, but in your main, but in your side you've got 3 Father-Son Kamehameha if it really makes a difference. I think that was really smart. And then this one is more Overwhelm dependent, and so it has 2 dimension support and 2 Masain Mysterious Warrior, so you're also doing really well against the mirror match from your main deck, but you don't have like a really strong win condition like the others. Demiurge's in the side, and I'm guessing if you're playing against a deck that you really don't care about, if you're going to take out like your Masain Dimension Support Trunks, you can just plop that in there and be really aggressive with that. 4 Dragon Balls, normally people, this is one of the first times I've seen someone be really successful with 4. I'd say that's like the minimum you should run, so I wonder if he ran into anything awkward because of that. I bet like energy charging was kind of awkward with this deck in general. He also had a Xenobun, which I thought was really weird because you don't have like a lot of blue, but I can see it working out against the Super Shenron matchup as well. Just being able to unpop all your energy for nothing, I think that'd be really powerful. And he's got another one on the side, so I think that's a really smart idea now that I think about it more. So there's that, and only 3 Android 8s, which I think someone else was doing that too, which I found like you want to run 4 and 4, but it works out really well for him. So and I think that's what it. Some key barrage trunks, like also against Broly. I see some people like super afraid of Broly, and so they overside for it. But there's only like it didn't win, so I guess it worked out for everyone, but except for the Broly players, right? Moving along to the yellow-black version, we've got this is Carlos's. He was undefeated during Swiss. Who else was undefeated? David. We already talked about David's. He was the. Have we talked about David? No, we haven't talked. Okay, sorry. He's a Broly player. But we've got this big old... this is a lot like... dang, I'm missing out names. Who won... okay, so this is like a lot like Isaiah's version that he used to get second place at Charlotte. But it's pretty much just running these yellow things and being able to run I'm the World Champion and stuff like that. I think it's almost, let me see, actually, now that I'm doing it live, right? Let's see. How similar is this? It is, okay. It's very similar, but not overly similar. He's not running Ginyu. He's also running Cronoa in the main, which I thought was really interesting. And then he's running Flying Nimbus, and he only run 2 of the I'm the World Champion. But other than that, seems pretty similar. Neither of these guys run Battering Laser, which I thought was like crazy. I would think that I would want to run Battering just so I could have the idea of, oh, I have this big 30k that is attacking, and then I can easily use a 4-star ball to make it a 40k. They're gonna want to negate this attack, and then I can just Battering, and so they can't. But neither of them did. Still worked out really well. So what do I know? But there's that. In the side, we've also got some cargos. The side deck for this is really kind of built against the mirror match with the cargos and also the Masain and the Mysterious Warrior. Also, there's 3 Godly Destruction Whis for the probably Super Shenron matchup, but I think that's about it. And then Vegeta striving to be the best. I don't really know what that Vegeta would be popping right now, and not a lot of things with barrier that you'd get in rest mode at least. So that was I'm not really sure why that was there, but there's that. So very strong. We already know that this deck, the yellow archetype is strong, so not really surprised it made it. And then the red variant. Oh yes, we've got another variant of this leader. So this is actually something I've been practicing with a lot, and shoutouts to Josh Knox, and also Android Brian Brown. They showed me with this list, and I've been practicing with it as well. Red's really powerful. I think it's a little underrated, and people haven't been experimenting with much just because there's not like some red extra cards that you want to be running, but the battle cards can be really good. So the big thing that you can think about is there's this feisty Chi-Chi. This can make it really good against the mirror match because this is essentially a Son Goku vanilla. This is like a Son Goku childhood that your opponent can't pop. The reason I say that, so this feisty Chi-Chi, it's a barrier. When you combo with this card from your battle area, you're able to draw one. Or sorry, you're able to summon a Son Goku from your deck, and then if you do, you draw one. And so that is so already that's plus, and then you get the Son Goku out, and if you have Android 8 out, you can combo with the Son Goku and then blow something up as well. Android 8 only says Son Goku childhood, so this Son Goku also works. And any of the other ones, any of the Kid Gokus, you can just think about. And if anyone, if you haven't thought of that, that's the thing. But so just really good. This can't get popped. If it was like a 1-drop of the Adventure Begins, you can kind of have it sit there, but it's really exposed. But this Chi-Chi can just save your butt and give you a lot of kind of defensive play for that. So really cool there. And then also just pretty much just some 2-drop vanillas, the Grandpa Gohans, Champas, some Training Buddy, Bardock fully unleashed in the main, which I thought was really interesting. They must have. This is really only good against Broly, so I mean, I guess you're kind of losing against the Broly matchup, but I'm not sure if a spot in the main deck is needed. 2 of the Masked Saiyan warriors, though, so just really winning the mirror match. Is that what you're trying to do? And then also Jamigra. 6 4-star balls, which is I really like 5 personally, so I think 6 is fine. On the excessive side, don't run any more than 6, but that's really good in 4 power bursts. And then in the sides, some Dark Power Black Masked Saiyan, some Time Control Klonoa, some Mercenary Tao, Tien Shinhan, Time Ruler Toa. Toa is the spicy play, so against the mirror match, this can be really good. You can steal one of your opponents, either Adventure Begins or Bonds of Friendship, and then you can just, wreak havoc with them. Also, it can be used against like Broly. You can steal their 1-drop, and if you combo it away, the way it works is that if you steal your opponent's, it does leave their battle area, but since you control the card, you activate it. But since you activate it, it's really convoluted, but if it leaves the battle area again from a skill, then it goes to your opponent's drop area, and then they get to activate it. Long story short, you can steal their Broly, and then you can just combo away with it, and then they just will not know what to do. It's really hilarious. If you're going like first, I think you have to like overwhelm like 3 or 4. But if you just steal their Broly and then combo it away, like they don't know what to do. It's I highly recommend it. Try it out when you can, because normally they don't have another 1-drop to go into, and they're just kind of sitting there. So yeah, that's just another way to do it. And then, I talked about that too much. So really cool deck, really strong. And let's move on to the other Agent of Destruction deck. I'm so happy about that. 2 Agent of Destruction decks made it to top 16. So this is this is Henry Dew's, Henry Dew or Henry Doe. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But this is his build. It's Hirudegarn. And it was really interesting to see. This one got on stream twice, at least. But really, what you do is you just kind of sit there for 6 turns, and then you play this Arcane Absorption Majin Buu. That's the main thing. It's kind of like the more control style, and it does have a lot of control elements, especially since it has like your hand control stuff. It's kind of like Darkness, like the Demigra deck that Hirudegarn has, like the hand control, but instead of the engine being for Jamigra, it's just with this agent stuff. So really interesting build. You can also use you can play like Bobby turn 1, and then you're able to get your agents out earlier and do some stuff with these. These can be really powerful if you're kind of just not doing anything and just kind of stalling out. So like Slug can discard a card. 13's a really good card to just kind of have out there. You just pay 2 energy and you blow up 2 things. That's really powerful. Janemba is always really powerful. It's crit. You can get some card advantage and some energy on tap as well, and then go from there. So very interesting build. It can kind of fail against some more aggressive builds, and You really, if you don't get like your if you don't get Boo turn 6, it can feel kind of bad, but I don't think it's too bad of a thing. Having Trunks power over Seeing Time in the deck really helps it out, especially because you don't care about your stuff being in warp. You really want your Janimbas in warp. I would probably think that you might want to have some minus Killy zones in the main though. Instead, maybe like take out one of these Trunks for minus Killy zone in the main, but other than that, I think it's very, very good, and yeah, very, very creative, and I like it. On the side, there's more control and also self-awakening, so there's like Awakening Talent Pan to help you self-awaken, and Goku striving to the best. A single God Strike Beerus, like I'm talking about. Also, the Heavenly Wizard Demigra, Crisis Crusher, Shenron, and the Masked Saiyan Mysterious Warrior for the Son Goku matchup. So, a very strong deck, and happy that it did well. Next, we've got the yellow Dende build. Okay, there we go. This is pretty much kind of like what Danny played and won. What he won Montreal, and then he got second at what's this one? This is Orlando, right? So did very well. I don't think this has any new cards from Set 6 in it. Nope, just Tian Shinhan in the side, but really, really powerful still. Very difficult to play, as I've been told, but not surprised that if someone who's really knowledgeable played it, then they did well. So there's that deck. This was piloted by Jorge Aguilar. Very, very well done. I don't really have much else to say about it. Sorry about that. And then also, like, talking about not having a lot to say about here, we're talking about now our bully decks. It did not win, but something that I thought was substantial is all of them main decked yellow. All of these were green-yellow. All of them had yellow in some capacity in the main deck, and then from there. This is definitely like build half the deck, then add your spice, because you run 3 of the 1-drop, you run 4 of all the combo pieces, 4 Paraguses, and then also for the super combo, a secret rare if you can have it, which I think all of them had it, which I think probably made a difference. I think the secret rare is necessary enough that if you want to run this deck at a really high level, I think unfortunately you have to have the secret rare, and then also yeah, just from there. So the first deck is let's see. This is David Riaz. He was undefeated in Swiss. Really like his build to have the yellow. Master Roshi I think is really good. Especially Master Roshi is really good when you're just spicing in some yellow. Just because worst case is a 5k combo. It's not going to be dead in your hand like Cold Bloodless or Frieza's Call can be. Also, so 2 Preemptive Strike, 2 Broly Control Mechanism is bold. I've seen a lot of people run at least 3. So having 2 can be a little bit sticky if it's in your hand or if it's in your life, but worked out for him. 2 Tragic Awakenings, the Golemite and the Ties That Bind Ba. I've never seen people play these cards, but they run it anyways, and it's definitely worth it because it can help you when you're in a sticky spot. But it's always funny that these are almost always an energy. And then in the side, the only thing I can see is that there's 2 No Escapes on Goku. Must have been afraid of the Gogeta stuff, even though it didn't make a really big showing. I mean, the red Gogeta stuff. That was also something I meant to say, but I didn't definitely. But no of the blue Gogeta BR was in there. I thought that was really interesting. I thought the deck archetypes has been strong in the past, but maybe it just loses hard to Super Shenron and stuff like that. So, but also like the single guard strike Beerus and then 2 preemptive strike. Did everyone have the preemptive strike? No, he was the only one. I think preemptive strike can be really powerful. In this deck, especially since you can just play it and then your opponent loses whatever. Like normally, a lot of options that your opponent can play, you can just pop and then they just feel really bad about it. So, and really, like on turn 3, if you still have your combo out, you don't really have anything to play. You just keep going with it. So you probably have a lot of energy open anyway. So the only thing about preemptive strike I'd have to say is it sucks when you're doing dual color, because then you have to like either commit to have preemptive strike open or Cold Bloodlust and stuff on turn 2. So but other than that, seems really good. Next up we've got let's see, this is Gerardo's build of it. So he's running 3 control mechanism. He's also running 4 of the dash pack. I think he was, yeah. he was only running 2, but sorry, David was only running 2. Gerardo was running 4, and then also the 1-drop Deadly Premonition. A lot of Paragus in this deck, but other than that, nothing too fancy. He's running 2 Planet Vegeta, actually, which could be good for finding any of your... you can find a super combo, you can find any of your Paraguses, and like up to your 4-drop Broly. That's probably less of a case, but I could see it being helpful to finding some of the cards you needed. I mean, just being able to find the Defending Father Paragus is good enough as it is, I feel. Also, 2 Freezes Call. This can be really good for restarting your chain. Just being able to find this and not having to take 2 life to play it is great, and then you know, going from there. So very strong card in this, just for, you know, being able to restart your engine, because he's not running Ba or the Golemite. Ba can be really good at the same thing because you play the Broly from your drop area, so it doesn't play it. You don't take the life for it, but there's that. And then I think that's about it. He's running 3 of these Super Saiyan Vegeta exploding with energy. I'm not sure why. I feel like this deck wins against the Android, you know, the skillless Goku deck, anyways. But now you're really sure that you win it, and I think that's about it. I don't know. I'm not sure what else he'd be afraid of. And then we've got lastly Joey Gonzalez build of it. And he really went hard with the yellows. I think actually, okay, never mind. He's got just about as hard as Gerardo, but 4 Cold Bloodlust, the Nimbuses and Freezes Call, and a Battering, so a lot of there. Pretty much the same, pretty similar, except for he's not running the Champas that Gerardo was. But the side deck is completely different. He had a bunch of yellow, including these Godly Destruction Whis, so probably against Super Shenron and Flying Nimbus. So that's, both of those are really good targets for that. The minus Achilles Zone I thought was interesting. He must have been afraid of like Cold Bloodlust or like Crusher Ball or something like that. And also running his own Crisis Crusher and Kami, so probably really afraid of Super Shenron. And then, yeah, and 2 Bardocks, I guess, for the mirror match, and Dimension Banisher Fu for the mirror match as well. So, yeah, just very solid. Just really the side deck is what builds these Broly decks, I feel like. Most of them are the same with, you know, minor ratio differences, but the side is what you really decide. But I think having the dual color is the way to go, and I feel like everyone else who at least top feels the same way, and I'm happy about that. So lastly, we've got our favorite mill archetypes. I'm just going to kind of breeze through these. I'm really actually surprised that there are 3 of them in the top 16. From last event in Chicago only had 1, and Charlotte had 2. But they just really got kind of blown up by these, you know, Qian Shinhan. That I felt like that really ruined a lot of players' play. And I think what people did to get around it is just play better, I guess. They realized what the how to play around it, and I think it really worked out. Xenobun being a big thing. So real quick, this is Brandon Perez, Colby Hill, and Fontes Leon's builds of these of the archetype. So it looks like Brandon's is a little bit more defensive, having Striving in the main, also Raging Spirits and Gohan, having 4 Reality Bender. I thought that was really interesting because Reality Bender doesn't really do anything, and especially since there are cards that you kind of want on your field, like Son Goku Striving to be the best, and also Raging Spirits and Gohan. I feel like that has like some negative synergy with that, but it definitely worked out really well. I think just having like I think the biggest thing about this is just it's cost 1, and so you can have 3 energy open for other stuff while still pushing your gameplay. And then also in the side, the only interesting I have to say is the Father Son Gallic Gun. I really don't understand why that's there. You just choose a card and put it back to your opponent's hand. I think there's the Key Barrage Trunks that does the same thing. You just have to take a life. I think that's better like 9 times out of 10, but there we go. I wouldn't know if he cited it at all. And then I think that's about it. And then there's Colby's. Nothing. He has a little bit more aggressive. The weird thing for me was this Quick Shift Majin Buu. I'm not sure why that's in here. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. You don't even draw one, you just kind of shuffle 2 cards in, and there's nothing really that you want in your deck for purposes like that. I feel like, you know, Unbreakable and Infernal Villainy Cell is just better. But I guess you can just kind of shuffle the cards that are dead and draw 2. I don't know. Seems sus, a little suspicious, but he obviously did really well with it. And then also the side's pretty normal. You know, Son Goku and the Dark Power Black Messian for the Super Shenron matchups, and then like Haru Haru for any yellow decks. And lastly, we've got Fontes Leon's Mill, and nothing super crazy with it either. He did not put Unbreakable's Son Goku's in it, which I think is a bold move, but I think it's the right move. If you're really worried about getting Tienned, nothing is worse than having a bunch of these 10k combos you thought you could pay for, and then you couldn't all of a sudden. So I think just having the cell and, you know, opening it up for alternative ways for defense is a good idea. The Mercenary Tau in main, one of those that seems weird, but I think they do lose the slug matchup, so having that out is good. There are no slugs in top 16 either. I think, let's see, there wasn't any in Chicago, but there was one in Charlotte. I think it's just people being prepared for it, honestly, and I don't think there's a lack of people playing slug. I think it's just people are actually putting in Mercenary Tau, and then, you know, it doing very well for them. Other than that, Courageous Heart Yajirobe seemed interesting just because there's so much blow up effects right now. And also, oh yeah, the big old Mirror can't go in this deck because of Janemba's things. It got judge called, I believe, and he had to take it out, but just like another version of the Scientist Foo. So if you're already typing that comment that says, oh, you can't run Mirror, it was caught and everything. So sorry I didn't bring that up earlier, but that's going to be it for me. I'm pretty exhausted, to be honest, but here's all the information from this event. This is, I think, going to be the last event for a while, at least at this caliber. I could be totally wrong. There could be something this weekend that I don't even know about, but hopefully it's not, just so I can get a little bit of rest. But here we go. Thank you for watching, and if you've been watching all these celebration event videos, I really do appreciate it. It was a lot of work to go into it, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm happy to just have, like, look at this, like, just a big thing of just, you know, showing how much work I've done, and just a big database of information like that. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.